Well, peace, power, understanding, wisdom, and light, you guys. And you are back, and I'm so very happy to see you in the place. Well, the last time we talked about the Commonwealth Games, and I showed you a video, and that was introducing Baal or Baal, that is a god, right? So you have to go back to my last video so you'll know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about England. We're talking about Commonwealth Games, where all of the sportsmen from around the world they came and they put on this a spectacular event. But what they also did was, well, they created something, and I will show you what they created. So again, you're going to have to go back to the last video that I did. Well, today I'm going to play for you a brother, all right? And he's going to explain about some of the parts that you did not see. And I'm going to show a picture of that as well. You remember when I talked about the Tower of Babel? But on that long video that they put out, you never saw the Tower of Babel, did you? Well, the brother's going to break it on down for us. So sit back. I hope you have your coffee, uh, your tea, your drink, whatever is clever, because we're going deep down the rabbit hole, y'all. So let's see if I can cue this up. I'm going to bring it onto the screen. Give me one moment. Now, this is really going to trip you out. I promise you it will. This is the ushering in of Baal or Baal, the god that symbolizes fertility and all those good things. And I explained yesterday that back in biblical times, that is what they did. They sacrificed their children. They sacrificed their children, you guys. But let's get it, y'all.
Baal, Baal, because you saw the bull that came out. They call it the raging bull that came out at that ceremony. And that became the star of the show. But that was not the only thing that happened on that day. And this is why I want you to follow me carefully. I want to show you something else that happened in that same place that many people are not taking notice of. And it's all interconnected with the emergence of the bull, which also has its own implications, which I'm going to explain to you as we go further down.
The stadium itself is filling with smoke. The smell of the smoke is in the nostrils of the 30,000 inside the stadium.
If you compare the image of this building that is up in flames here with the one that is on the other side of the screen, which is the image of the Tower of Babel, you can see that they have too many similarities. Now, what I consider this that is up in flames is the Tower of Babel. This is a depiction of how God confused the language and destroyed the Tower of Babel. And before we continue with this image, I want to share with you what I believe was the idea behind the Tower of Babel. Because in Christianity, we've been told that the Tower of Babel was being constructed to get to the heavens where God is living. But I don't believe that that is actually what it meant in literal sense. I don't think it is possible for anybody to construct any structure that will get into the heavens. I'm pretty sure that back in the days, they didn't have the power for it. Today, we still don't have the power to do that. But you know that whenever something is stretched into the skies, that back in the days, the olden days, they would say it went up into the heavens. The skies are also called the heavens. So skyscrapers are buildings that have stretched into the heavens. So I believe that this was supposed to be an imposing structure that was going to be a skyscraper that will stretch into the heavens and take the shape of a pyramid. And ideologically, what that simply means is that these people were actually trying to build the center for one world government.
All right, all right. I'm back. I'm back. They tried to stop this one from coming through. It looks like it is still going on, even after they booted me out. This will happen a lot of times, you all, when I get very, very deep into certain situations that they don't want us, that they don't want to come to the light. All right. So if I disappear again, that just means that they don't want it to come out. Okay. So hold on. Yeah, they're fighting it. They're fighting it today. But I'm fighting back too because I have on the full armor of God. And this message will come out whether they like it or not. So please give me 1 second, you guys. Just give me 1 second.
Has now been infused into a crystal shard, and I want you to see what they are going to use that light to do with this burning structure in front of you. Just watch, but before you see them use the shirt to restore the building that is burning, I want you to look at something that many people have not seen. Watch right there. Did you see something that just changed now? Did you see that what is in front of you in this very compartment here is actually a figurine, like a mask? Just watch again. The image begins to come and then the yellow light disappears and turns into a static image. What do you see that? Do you see that emerging? As it's disappearing, it kind of morphs into an image of a being that is sticking the tongue out, which I believe here looks like Lucifer or Satan himself in the flames. And they are feeling at home in this flame. Was this what the Tower of Babel was meant to accomplish? To become like an embassy for the powers of hell, so that hell is established on earth? Isn't that what the whole New World Order agenda is all about? To bring the kingdom of Satan into our world. But God frustrated it. But now they are revamping it. They are giving it a new life. How did they give it life? The light of Lucifer is what they put together, and then they were able to restore, as you can see in front of you. But why didn't they just aim it individually at that? They had to put it together, because when the Tower of Babel was destroyed, it was because they had one voice. That's why they were succeeding in what they were doing. Because scattered their tongues. And today they've taken all those crystal shards, almost like representing tongues, and they have put them together as one. They could have aimed it at the building individually and accomplished the same thing. But he said, no, let's put it as one, because that oneness that we lost was why we lost our hold on the universe, on the population of the world, when he came and scattered our tongues. So they're showing you that all these nations, our voices are one. We are now recreating the worship of Baal in this present age. We are running away from that God who made the heavens and earth. We are deviating from our moral and Christian principles and codes that we all grew up with. It is now the era of the worship of Satan and not the worship of God. Then you have already seen.
A terrifying sight.
Before I take you to this image, which I know most of you must have seen, which is the image of the bull entering and looking very angry and stuff like that, I want us to go to a few things that has happened before now. There was a precedent. There was a preparation for this that nobody is talking about. And I'm going to take you to see how they laid the foundation for what took place at the opening ceremony of the Birmingham Games, where they introduced the bull that the children of Israel were sacrificing their children to in front of the whole world.
During America's departure from God, an image was set up in New York City in the heart of its financial section, the place devoted to gain. It was this. You can put that up. In the Bible, an image of a molten bull was an image of Baal. And it was linked, whether bull or calf, was linked to the departure of a nation from God. To represent a nation's prosperity, America's financial power, gain, increase, which was also a symbol, was linked to Baal, a nation turning away from God.
America has had this molten image for so many years. This symbol was already there in New York. The symbol of the bull, the same Baal worship, the symbol of pride, America's economic might, America's affluence. We don't need God anymore. The worship of the devil, the killing of children. As you'll find out later on, you'll find out that New York City, in the whole of the US, if not the whole world, is the headquarters of child sacrifices to Baal, because that's the headquarters of the Planned Parenthood. That's where these guys are. This is where they began to make it legal for people to kill children. What is Baal known for? Baal is known for child sacrifices. Let me play you a video to help you understand how they were worshiping Baal in those days.
This group of deities were always connected with the idea of fertility, and it was extraordinarily gruesome in their practices. And one of the things, for instance, that they would do whenever there was indeed a concern about their future prosperity, the ability to feed themselves, they would sometimes take their firstborn children, and in the worship of Baal, they would go forth and burn these children alive. And while these children were screaming in agony, these folks would engage in all kinds of sexual perverse acts during this time of worship.
Can you believe what you just heard? They would take their children to sacrifice them to Baal. And then they throw the children into the fire. And while the children are screaming and burning alive, the parents will engage in so many sexual activities that are very perverse. This is the origin of sexual perversion. When a man is not doing it with the person he's supposed to do it, when a woman is not doing what the person is supposed to do it, that's perversion of sex. That is a form of satanic worship to Baal. This is what they were doing while their kids were burning.
In the autumn of 2016, the sign of Baal appeared in New York City. I went down there for the unveiling of this unholy object, the art.
I think a lot that it's a shame that our people perish. Our people perish because they would rather support demon activity. If I were on here and if I was twerking and dropping it like it's hot and showing all of my private parts and talking so disgusting and just sinning out of control, I would have thousands of followers on here. People say, why is your channel not as big as the others? And this is why. Because no one wants to know what's in front of them. No one wants to know what's actually in their cities. Where did it come from? Why did they bring certain statues to the U.S.? Over the next couple of months, you all are going to be learning a whole lot. You're going to be learning about Rome. You're going to be learning about New York and many, many cities. How these things have been in our faces for years. And I will break it down and I will tell you exactly why they were allowed in certain cities. I stopped right there because we're going to be talking about the ark. There was an ark that was replicated in New York. How does it tie into Baal worship? So we know that the bull is now in New York, right? We know that was a symbol for Baal or Baal. But there was something that people had to go through before they could get to the statue of Baal back in the day, in the biblical times. And you won't believe this, but in New York, the same exact monument or a covering or an ark they actually tried to build, except someone exploded it because they knew where it came from. They put the two and two together and they said, no, it's not going to happen. Well, that's it. That's all. That was part 2. You learned about what you didn't see on the longer video yesterday. You saw the Tower of Babel. You saw the light. And remember, I talked about the light from Satan. The 71. Those are 71 demons or angels, if you will, that came down, and they were the emissaries. There were 72, and it was a spinoff, or it was a mock of God, because God sent 72 people out. So the enemy said, I'm going to send 72 out as well. But if you remember on the video yesterday, the young lady that was holding her hand up trying to appease the bull, and what you didn't see was that she climbed on top of the bull. You may have missed that part. That was the whore of Babylon. This all happened in England. And like I said, the new king, he decreed this is what he wanted. Ironically, this happened a little after his mother transitioned. You do the math. The math is mathing, because sometimes you have to get rid of certain people that will not go along with your program of the new world. Yeah. So that's it. That's all. Peace, power, understanding, wisdom, and light. I will see you all tomorrow when we're going to talk about the ark. Peace, family.